What's up, Razorback fans? I'm Emory Hall Jr., and you are watching Hog Heaven Sports. Today, I'll be doing a preview and prediction show of the number 13 Arkansas Razorbacks versus the number 17 Ole Miss Rebels. Both teams are coming off losses to the top two teams in the country, and both teams will be hungry for a victory. So, this definitely will be one of the most watched games of the weekend. And I definitely see it being a very hard fought and very interesting game. So without further ado, let's jump into this video. Let's take a look at some of the team stats for both of these squads. For the number 13 Arkansas Razorbacks, they are 4-1 following the loss to the number 2 team in the nation, the Georgia Bulldogs. On offense, they have 963 passing yards to go along with 1,119 rushing yards, giving them a total yardage so far this season of 2,082 yards. The offensive line has given up 8 sacks so far this season, and 4 of those sacks came from the Georgia Bulldogs last week. And on defense for the Razorbacks, they have given up 1,414 yards so far this season, with 10 sacks forced and 4 interceptions. Now, for the number 17 Ole Miss Rebels, they are also 4-1 following their first loss of the season from the number 1 team in the nation, the Alabama Crimson Tide. And on offense, they have 1,223 passing yards to go along with 1,063 rushing yards, giving them a total yardage on offense of 2,197 yards. The offensive line on that side has given up 8 sacks as well. And the defensive side of the ball for the Ole Miss Rebels, they have given up 1,485 yards to go along with 12 sacks forced and 2 interceptions so far this season. The history between these squads go all the way back to October 10th, 1908, with Arkansas getting the win their first game of 33-0 over the Ole Miss Rebels. The series history stands as 36-28-1, with Arkansas leading with 36 wins. The last 10 games of this series has Arkansas winning 6 games out of those 10, giving them a lead over the Ole Miss Rebels so far. Next is the Hogs versus Y'all section. It is a position-by-position breakdown of these two squads, with me giving the edge to who I think has the edge between these two teams. Let's jump into it. First up are the quarterbacks. On Arkansas side, you have number 1, KJ Jefferson, returning home to the state of Mississippi where he played his high school ball. He is 51 out of 94 for 909 yards, 6 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions so far this season. Also in the running game, he has 40 attempts rushing for 280 yards and 2 touchdowns. On the Ole Miss side, you have number 2, Matt Corral, with 87 out of 125 passing for 1,210 yards. He has 10 touchdowns and no interceptions this far in the season. He has 43 attempts rushing for 226 yards with 6 touchdowns so far this season. Both of these quarterbacks are dual threats, so I definitely see both of these squads taking advantage of both of these guys' legs this game. Next are the running backs. On Arkansas side, you have number 22, Traylon Smith, as the leader for the Razorbacks with 62 carries, 302 yards, and 3 touchdowns. Number 5, Raheem Rocket Sanders, with 37 carries, 185 yards, and 2 touchdowns. And last, number 20, Dominique Johnson, with 23 carries, 157 yards, and 3 touchdowns. On the Ole Miss side, you have number 9, Jerion Ely, as the leader with 40 carries, 223 yards, and 1 touchdown. And number 4, Henry Parrish, with 36 carries, 226 yards, and 1 touchdown. Now we have the wide receivers. On Arkansas side, you have number 16, Treylon Burks, as the leader with 22 receptions, 383 yards, and 2 touchdowns. And the number 2 wide receiver is number 19, Tyson Morris, with 8 receptions, 178 yards, and 2 touchdowns. On the Ole Miss side, you have number 11, Dontario Drummond, with 24 receptions, 382 yards, and 4 touchdowns. And number 1, Jonathan Mingo, with 5 receptions for 390 yards and 3 touchdowns so far this season. Next are the tight ends. On Arkansas side, you have number 87, Blake Kern, with 5 receptions, 61 yards, and no touchdowns so far this season. And on the Ole Miss side, you have number 83, Chase Rogers, with 7 receptions, 71 yards, and 1 touchdown so far this season. As you can see, they're not really a threat in the passing game so far this season, but they could change, as both of them have reliable hands, and they are definitely capable in the running game as capable blockers. Next up are the offensive lines. On Arkansas side, they've been able to get 1,119 rushing yards to go along with 963 passing yards so far this season. The offensive line has given up 8 sacks so far, and 4 of those coming from Georgia last weekend. On the Ole Miss side, they have 1,069 yards rushing and 1,210 yards passing. That offensive line has given up 8 sacks as well so far this season, with most of those coming from Alabama last week as well. Next are the defensive lines. On Arkansas side, you have number 55, Trey Williams, as a sack leader on the defensive line with 15 tackles and 4 sacks so far this season. Number 56, Zach Williams, with 13 tackles, 1.5 sacks this year. And number 99, John Ridgeway III, with 18 tackles and 1 sack so far this season. On the Ole Miss side, you have number 7, Sam Williams, with 17 tackles and 5 sacks. Number 55, KD Hill, with 7 tackles, 1.5 tackles for a loss. And also number 94, Quentin Bivens, with 8 tackles so far this season. Next, let's talk about the linebackers for both of these squads. On Arkansas side, you have number 10, Bumper Poole, with 49 tackles and 3 tackles for a loss. Number 27, Hayden Henry, with 40 tackles, 5.5 tackles for a loss. Also, number 31, Grant Morgan, with 37 tackles, 4.5 tackles for a loss. On the Ole Miss side, you have number 44, Chance Campbell, with 29 tackles, 4 tackles for a loss, and 2 sacks. Number 0, Lakia Henry, with 13 tackles. And number 17, Ashanti Sistrunk, with 18 tackles and 2.5 tackles for a loss. Next are the secondaries for both of these squads. On Arkansas side, you have number 1, Jalen Catalon, with 37 tackles, 8 pass breakups, and 2 interceptions. Number 9, Greg Brooks Jr., with 22 tackles and 2.5 tackles for a loss. And last, number 21, Montari Brown, with 21 tackles, 2 pass breakups, and 2 interceptions. On the Ole Miss side, you have number 21, AJ Finley, with 21 tackles and 1 pass breakup. Number 3, Otis Reese, with 27 tackles and 1 pass breakup. And number 27, Tysheem Johnson, with 23 tackles. Let's check and see who has the edge between these two squads at each position. Quarterback will go to Ole Miss. Running back will go to Arkansas. Wide receiver will go to Ole Miss. Tight ends to Ole Miss. Offensive lines will go to Arkansas. Defensive line will go to Arkansas. Linebackers going to Arkansas. And secondary going to Arkansas as well. The complete team being Arkansas this game, and I see them having a better team so far this season. I see my Razorbacks winning 35-31 over the Ole Miss Rebels. As you can see, my prediction last week was definitely wrong, but I see my Razorbacks bouncing back in a big way this week after their loss last week. Give them a little time to get the physicality where it needs to beat a team like Georgia and Alabama. But honestly, every other team on the schedule, I feel like Arkansas has the size advantage on both lines of scrimmage. And I definitely see that would be a factor this week as well. Arkansas goes like 6'6", 320 pounds per man up front, and it's not even close against the Ole Miss Rebels. They don't have that kind of size on the defensive line. So I definitely see them having a big game in the running game like they did against Texas, and having a good game against the pass game for the offensive side of the ball for the Razorbacks. Let's see what it comes out to be, but I might be wrong, but I definitely feel like I'm right. I want to thank you all for taking the time out to watch Hog Heaven Sports today. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and you will definitely see more content for your Arkansas Razorbacks and more content coming from Hog Heaven Sports. Be safe and have a blessed day.